o'clock. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I don't see a flag around that I didn't print. Is there one?
We asked him to find one,
What's that?
the flag.
Oh, Tim went to get one.
Okay,
Oh, I thought I saw one. Okay.
It was been a crate at the bottom. He's being a vet. He's a little particular.
Oh,
about
okay,
flags.
okay.
He's got one.
Well, do we want to give it a minute then?
Or hang out or.
we'll wait for the pledge of allegiance till we have a flag.
Okay.
In the meantime, I guess
If you want.
You can type on so nobody does it.
we can go ahead and open up for public comment. If anybody has any public comment they'd like to share. None here, any public comment on Zoom? Okay, no public comment. That we can go ahead and approve our minutes. Commissioner, you have a chance to go over the minutes?
I did.
I did as well. Any questions?
No. Do I need to make a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I will second that. Those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Monthly budget report. And approving vouchers.
Okay, we had a low, expense month, which was kind of fun after all of our big,
Right.
broadband months. And in looking at the voucher sheet, I just felt there's really nothing unusual here. We did make our first payment to DL Lighting for the lighting incentive program. They're already done with Dayton Tractor. They are done with Cowboy Bullets. And they are working on Red Band Sellers.
Okay,
And Dayton Tractor is thrilled. We did put in like $400 worth of additional lights that they asked since the guy was there. So we had just a couple spots, like a hallway and an office, and we still got an incentive payment for them. It was still an incentive, so. And then Patton and Associates, that is our annual report.
okay.
I did turn in the annual report to the state by the deadline this year instead of being a day late. That was good.
Yeah.
And then the line on the bottom is the 4,940 to 0 dB. That was the cost to repair the line that Charter ripped down at the trailer court, but we've already gotten a check from Charter to reimburse us.
Okay,
So that was very, very exciting. We found the right person to talk to there.
excellent.
So as far as the, the budget report and how things are laid out, everything is in great shape. I do feel like our office equipment line item is maybe we didn't budget enough for that. It's pretty high already. But Tracy and I have gone through things and it's just the cost of software. It used to be we had Adobe on our computer and now it all has to be subscription. You have to pay every month. And so because we put all of our software there, so it's probably going to be over for the year, but that's really more of a budgeting problem than anything, I guess. It's we've actually gone through it several times. And then on the revenue side, we've gotten quite a bit of tax payments for this spring session and the fiber lease income continues to be very, very healthy. So we're in great shape. We've got about 700 and some $1,000 on hand. 100,000 of that is retainage for one of the broadband projects, but other than that, we're in good shape. Got some reserve and cash flow is good.
Excellent.
Any questions?
I really appreciate the percentage spent
Okay,
on
good.
expense, because that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
And then the total, we don't want to go over our total, but
yep.
great job. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
No questions. So our signature will be the approval of that. Okay.
Joanne and I look like we're
Over there.
in the infirmary.
Well,
with Johnny tonight?
He's gonna be late. There was an accident on the way that he stopped to help, so.
Okay, leases. Do we have any leases this month?
We have one lease this month, and that is for the Southeast Washington Health Alliance. Is that what they're called? Alliance for Health. They rent space in the co-working building. They've been on a 1-year lease several times, so we asked them if they'd please switch to a 2-year lease. They said yes.
Okay.
And we did increase it by 3%.
All right.
So, Jenny, how full are we in all of our port buildings?
We are 100% full. We don't even have a space at co-working. Everything is full. Every space at Move Out Station. Every space in the co-working building. We are full and overflowing. And Jill and I are continually digging for money to build a building, but it's not, you don't get grants to build buildings very often, so. Even though we're gonna build one for the craft malt
Mall.
company, that's for him, not for speculative businesses, so. Yeah, we are full.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and review the comprehensive parks master plan.
Okay. So- You wanna do the pledge of allegiance?
Let's go ahead and do that. Flag is here, so let's go ahead and stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for going to get that.
Now we expect you to march around the building.
Sure he would.
You look like you have.
So for review purposes, this cooperative park master plan was first put together in, I don't remember when it was, 2014 or something like that. Yeah, 2014. We actually hired interns from Eastern Washington University, and they came down and did a really, deep dive into the county and built this inventory. And so this is a requirement if you want to get funds from the RCO. And it has to be updated every 5 years. So this is an update, and I see that it's basically the changes are just changing out projects if something's different and looking at the dates and no big changes. And I noticed in Dina's, in her, because the county took the lead on this, and in her summary, she said that the next time we update, we probably need to do a big update again.
Okay.
Have somebody come and really look at the assets,
Right,
make sure we're not missing anything. So for this time, it's just a renewal. And we have to have a public hearing, and I had forgotten that. So we will have to adopt it at our next meeting. We will have to advertise a public hearing and adopt it. But I did want you to have a chance to take a look at it. I found 2 things I'd like to fix. And even though I had looked at it ahead of time, I missed them. Well, one of them's just a typo on page 36. There's an extra D under number 4. And then the cost of the RV pull-through sites was not correct, so. Those were the 2 that I saw that I can ask Dina to repair. So I don't know if you guys saw anything you want fixed or have any comments or questions.
I did not.
Okay,
I really like the Starbucks additions.
yep, we had Starbuck,
Yeah.
added Starbuck in 2018, and
Yeah.
then we added the Parks and Rec, the
Yeah.
pool this time,
Yeah.
so,
And they're-
yeah, that was nice. Okay, well then we will just set the public hearing and do the formal adoption at our next meeting. I'll advertise the public hearing.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do the update on port assets, starting with Rock Hill Industrial.
Just the lighting upgrade is really what's been going on there. Do you have anything else, Tracy? Had some HVAC unit issues at one of the portways. I don't remember which one. 3 Portway. Anything else that you can think of? No, it's kind of good.
It's quiet.
Yes.
Do we have a service excuse me, contract for all the HVAC?
No, we have not done that. I have looked at it over the years and I have chosen not to do it.
Okay,
I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not. It's very expensive, you know, then you're looking at every unit every year.
well, but if we don't do maintenance on a regular basis,
Well, yeah, I just don't, I'm not, other than changing filters, I don't know.
cleaning oil.
We do have one at Blue Mountain Station with those big HVACs and especially the one on the roof. We do have a service contract for those.
Okay, it might be something we want to consider, because I
Yeah.
think in the long run, service tends to save in breakdowns. Because when you have an emergency,
Yeah,
it costs more than making sure everything's maintained ongoing. And we just in private business signed a 3-year contract for maintenance.
uh-huh.
And it's twice a year, and it was actually a lot less expensive than I thought. It was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Who did you go with?
Campbell and Company,
Where are they from?
Tri-Cities, Kenwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do the same thing out here every spring. They come out, they take care of all our coolers, our freezers.
Yeah.
Up at the house, the air conditioner and everything up there.
They even do my make tables, the pizza make tables, and all that. And it was $3,000 for us for 3 years. For twice a year of maintenance.
Yeah,
Now, if they find something wrong, they
Yeah.
cost you more, but.
Yep.
right. Well, and we have 9 buildings.
Right,
I can guarantee you, we don't spend $27,000 a year on HVAC repair. You know what I mean? That,
Until
or 9,000, we don't spend 9,000 a year on
Until you
HVAC
do.
repair. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's happened to us twice. We've had a major breakdown that's cost us $15,000 and another one that
Yeah.
cost us almost 10
yeah,
in our 2 little buildings.
yeah.
So the same.
Well, I suppose we could consider it. If you think it's important.
Well, I think this, I think it's more cost effective to prevent breakdowns than it is to, oh shit, we gotta replace the whole unit. Just my opinion.
Okay. That's okay. I'll think about it. I've thought about it many times over the years and just have never
And I'm
thought
not
it
saying,
made financial sense.
I'm not saying Campbell and Company's the company.
Uh-huh.
Whoever would maintain it for a reasonable price, and we'd probably have to go out for requests for.
We would. Yeah, see, what we do now is we take turns on our small works roster. So
Yeah.
we'll call Mill Creek one time and Grossi the next
Yeah.
and Young's the
And,
next and,
and that's a problem also, because they don't always agree on what needs to be done.
yeah.
We ran into that.
But we would, we'd have to do an RFP of some sort and then have like we do with the landscaping and then have a maintenance contract. Yeah.
It's an idea.
Okay, thank you.
All we have is the air conditioning units. We don't have any refrigeration or anything.
Just
like
at Blue
that.
Mountain Station is the only place with the refrigeration, yeah.
Right.
But we do have it at the kitchen.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we have handled that by emergency, you're correct,
Yeah.
yeah. But we do the HVACs there because they're big and there's some on the roof that we can't get to,
But all of your buildings are big.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll look into it.
All right, moving on, Lions Ferry Marina.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you about my RCO grant application first, and then we'll talk about Wally grant. So I did the technical review a couple weeks ago, and I did not feel good about it. Even though it was their employee that told me to imply that the water access category was the correct category, by the end of my presentation, one of their employees said, well, we'll have to verify that you're eligible for this category. So I have since tried to follow up, and my grant manager has now informed me that he's no longer my grant manager, and I've been given a new name. But they are supposed to give me written feedback. So I don't, if I'm not eligible, I don't understand why, so we'll see, we'll see. So then this was just a practice, and so I have another chance to present at the end of August.
Okay.
So that's why I take their feedback and try to improve my
Yeah.
presentation and.
Right.
But I also think that they didn't get my point that I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was that. The revenue generated from the RV sites helps preserve access to water for the whole facility. You know, because that's how we pay for maintenance.
Yeah.
And it just felt like that went over their heads. And I saw the presentation right before mine, and it was the Department of Fish and Wildlife buying a piece of property on a river in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was so different from ours. I just don't. I think that, I just don't know. I think that maybe I showed them too much of the marina. You know, I was trying to show them the whole thing. And I think they just wanted to know what the project was and how people would get to the water, you know?
Right.
So I will revamp it for August, and I guess, unless they say I'm not eligible. But I would guess I put 100 hours into it, and I told them that. I said, I sure hope I'm eligible, because you told me to apply in this category, so.
So if we're not eligible, what's the next steps?
Well, we'll talk about the transition that's coming up, and then I've talked to Tim about it, and I don't know what it is, but we'll brainstorm. So Wally and Joanne are planning to retire, and they have found a new, where are they? There they are, Tim and Susan. And so they have found, concessionaires to take the place to sell their business to. And it's going to be, I'll let them talk. It's going to be a gradual transition. So Tim and Susan are being trained. So I will let you guys talk.
Okay, so Tim and Susan joined our management team May 1st. And we are, as you said, doing a transition to where we are cutting back our hours and they are taking more and more ownership of the place. The goal is that by the end of this summer, we're around as consultants for them to ask any questions of. We do plan on coming back to help out with the grant if it does materialize. We did say we would be part of that. But like I said, it's for us is to cut back our hours and let them start taking over the majority of the works here.
Congratulations.
What's that?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We're excited.
Yeah.
We couldn't think of anybody better to take over this
Well,
park for us. So,
They've been out here having their family reunions, what, for 20 years?
Yeah.
and yeah, and you may know Tim from the Pure Pine in Dayton and Walla Walla.
Yeah.
You ran both of those?
Yeah.
I'll let you ask them some questions if you want.
Yeah,
Put them on the spot.
tell us a little bit about you guys.
What do you wanna know? No, both me and Susan been together for a long time. We had a solid relationship, and a big part of that relationship has always been Lions Ferry, not just my family reunions, but we come out here for very specific, my birthday, Mother's Day, and our anniversaries normally always on the same weekend. We've been coming out for that. We've participated in care camps, and this has always been something that we've always wanted to lean toward doing. Just this has become an opportunity of Japan to help us out so graciously. I can't take that for granted because all you guys are great, but to be able to have that kind of support in a transition in a business just doesn't happen all the time. And so I think that it's gonna be really successful, and I look forward to projects no matter what. Speed bumps or roadblocks or yays or nays we get, I look forward to this being it for both of us. I finally decided to quit working. I'm also I'm fully pension 100% vet, and so one opportunity. So I look forward to the hard work and carrying on their legacy. Because Jim and Angela, I helped Jim originally way back in the day when you couldn't even see the house up there. I was down here with a bunch of veterans fishing, and he came walking up at the stands and said, well, what did I do? And we helped him whip it into shape and became friends, and we met Wally and Joanne that way, and they, the turnaround, Jim and Angela did great, but Wally and Joanne, the model, way to turn this place around, and it's exactly what the heart needed, so we're grateful to be able to step in behind them. Just keep that going, few things here and there, but it's just a good piece, but I don't plan on changing much operation, that's for sure, it works pretty good.
Well, it's pretty exciting because this was the whole, back in 2008 when we had difficult concessionaire that we had to terminate. You know, writing the new lease, this was the whole idea, was that the concessionaires would be, incentivized to show a profit, you know, to have good books and show a profit and be able to sell the business and have the continuation of leasing the facility. So, and for us, it doesn't change any lease because we actually, our leases with, it's called 7Ks. They, I guess they're the ones who bought the business from Jim and Angela. And they operate recreation facilities all over the West, but this was their first marina. So they were not thrilled with the understanding that, you don't just shut the gate in, October and go somewhere else for the winter and come back in April. This is a year-round facility. So that was when they sold the business to Wally and Joanne, but, maintained the lease with us and then subleased to them. So now there is a lease and a sublease and a sublease. That soon,
I wasn't in
yeah,
that. one.
yeah.
No, and hopefully soon it will be just a lease.
Yes, just a lease, so.
So-
And, Tim was able to go on the core, inspection with us. We had that last week. So that was good. Both Wally and Tim were on the inspection, so. I am sad to lose my buddies, but I'm happy to have a great new, couple to work
Yeah.
with, so.
I
That's,
wanna introduce
that's what
my
we hope
wife,
for.
Susan, or I did all the talking. Should have some say too.
Yes.
I'm really excited about this. Tim and I have been coming out here for the last 20 years. Prior to that, when I was a kid growing up, I all along. I spent more time over at the state park because this place was a little scary. Back when I was growing up. So, when we started coming here and just seeing the changes and how different it was, it's amazing and it's just continued to get better. I too have stopped working outside. I was a nurse for the last 29 years. And so this is a big change for me. But I'm very excited. I'm really excited.
So now we have someone to send the fishermen to when they walk in with a hook in their finger and say, what do I do?
What I'll do is I will stabilize it and say go to date.
You grab a pair of side cutters, cut it, and hold down.
I'll take it.
I've done it several times.
Had one Monday.
So. The maintenance, is that daunting or you're up to it?
Oh, I'm getting used to it. I'm figuring it out. The last job I had didn't require any of that kind of exercise, so I'm easing into it. But yeah, Wally's a workhorse, but yeah, I'm just got a little bit of repetitive action. It's a snowball around here. Once
Yeah.
you see one thing, oh, I need to see that. So as long as you just keep moving, it's not too bad.
But you're up to it?
Oh, yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Yeah, even when it gets really rough on the hillside with the weed whacker, I have to stop and turn around and go, oh, okay.
Tim is the kind of person who, we went on a month-long vacation last year. I was doing travel nursing, so I was able to take some time off and we took our travel trailer and it was brand new at the time. And we went cross country and we didn't even get to Twin Falls, Idaho, and something went wrong. And there were little things along the way, but he's able to look at something and figure out, oh, that's how it works.
We're me and Wally are a lot.
You know, I can do this and it'll,
Yeah,
it'll take care of it. And we were able to continue our trip. And like he said, it was kind of sad because if it had been like mom and pop or whatever, somebody who had no idea, the trip would have been over, so,
Oh,
that's, yeah. He's a very big son.
Well, congratulations, Wally and Joanne, on your retirement.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Tim and Susan, on your new business venture. Every entrepreneur has their own individual ideas and goals and visions. What are your plans?
There's not a whole lot we'd like to change. We'd like to see some development down the road, like this hillside behind Long back here has always made me want to put little treehouse cabins on it. I'd like to be able to support that venture of getting those pull through sites and keeping this as a KOA. whatever that's gonna take to do that, I can plan out some support down the road that will help if this doesn't work out, something to get off. You know, and just, keeping the experience the same, that's gonna be a lot of work in itself, it's just not so good at that, you know. I just hear that when I travel around and meet the campers and stuff like that. So really, not a whole lot, but just
I wanted.
Bye, John.
I wanted to, but we have talked about two, sites. 30, 31, and 32, we're gonna put a horseshoe pit up there. And, possibly like a permanent, cornhole setup, put some tables up there and just make it a nice place for people to be able to gather and do those kinds of things. You know, promoting, and we already have people who come in groups, but you know, like family reunions. We did that out here for a long time and those kinds of things, but
And we made contact also integrating with Fish and Wildlife and the ranger stuff on coming over and doing education talks and stuff like that. And we're gonna bring the movie night back and, you know, Lions Ferry is kind of just like, doesn't need a whole lot more. It's just great like it is, but you know, I understand and appreciate what you're saying. That's gonna happen.
we're gonna do bingo on rainy days.
Yeah, game night.
And Joanne had kids down here Memorial Day weekend doing crafts and kids, parents, you know, and the young woman who is the ranger out here, Chris, she's amazing. She's so excited. And she's gonna come and we're gonna do like a campfire, but just with the propane down there at the point. And she's gonna do a ranger talk, and she also said that she would, that she'll walk around like for people who can't make it all the way down here. Maybe some of the older, you know, RVers or whatever, and she'll walk around, she'll hear her talks at the campsites.
Cool.
Unless you guys throw us out of here, we're not gonna be going anywhere. It's this.
Good to hear it. Excellent.
Well, and Tim, I did mention to Tim, you know, I told him my sob story about the RCO technical review and he said he had, you know, he's been thinking about what we would do what we could do if it doesn't work, so.
Doesn't go through.
I mean, it's got revenue, you know, it's not like debt can't be paid back, it's just a matter of who does it and how, I guess, and you know, the,
Combination.
yeah, and the what are they called? KOA's been pretty patient. I mean, it's been years that we were supposed to get this done. And, you know, right now, they're just, as long as we're showing progress, they're not freaking out, but.
But if we need their help, as far as, you know, they've done this for Anderson Perry, but if we don't go with that stuff and they'll come out for free and help us.
That's the KOA is already full, but
That's valuable.
the sites should only be $35,000 a site, so that's 350,000 compared to.
Right, but it's the hillside and it's prevailing wage.
They-
Yeah,
They take all that into consideration.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Tim?
Oh, no, I agree with Bob. I mean, it's, those numbers, there's a lot of, there's 20% like, but a lot of stuff, this is a lot of can of worms that could be complicated, so. But, yeah, we can figure that all out, see what happens, right?
yep, we'll see what happens. Yeah, and Tim did a great job pulling together the match. It was great. They had $540,000 worth of, or almost, no, it would have made I think the port's contribution would have only been about 60,000. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
it's
kind, and
It's showing something like 40.
it was great. Yeah, he really found between the two of them, they found a lot of businesses that were willing to help, so.
They found the majority of them, so.
Yep, so all is well. Just keep moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you for coming, and you can stick around if you want. You don't have to, but.
But we're serving
ahead.
dinner afterwards.
Yep.
If you want to quit cooking and leave.
Oh,
That's the only reason I came tonight.
Okay. I'm gonna go help.
Okay,
Okay, let's talk about Blue Mountain Station.
okay, so as you all know, we were successful in our curb application, yay. We have, I've signed the initial offer of financial aid. And, Curve has already sent one of the things, there's this list of pre-contract requirements we have to complete. And one of them is cultural resources. We did a cultural resource study at the site when we purchased it. And Curve has already sent that information to the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, and their recommendation was no additional survey would be needed.
Wow.
So, and then they sent it to the tribes. You have to send it for consultation, so that's already out. They have 30 days to respond, but if they don't have any issue with it, we don't have to do cultural resources again, which is great.
Excellent.
Yeah, and there will be a repayment resolution that has to be signed, adopted by the commission, just saying we are going to repay the debt.
Okay.
So I think I will prepare that for the July meeting as well. And then we have a SEPA document that has to be completed. A finalized budget, finalized scope of work, and a list of permits and a signature from the planning department that all permits are either underway or completed, so none of that should be difficult. SEPA, you gotta do SEPA, but I just need to talk to the planning department about it and see if we really have to do it, or if they'll. I don't think we're exempt. I think we'll have to do it.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's not too tough. So we'll work on that, and then one of the main things is putting out the request for statements of qualifications. So that's gone in the newspaper for 2 weeks and on our website. And we submitted it to the Office of Women and Minority-Owned Businesses. It's a new law that we have to submit it to that. But when we did that for fiber, we got some great contractors for fiber supplies, so.
Mhm.
We've done all that. I only have one statement of qualifications returned so far. So, it's due Monday. They're due Monday.
Okay.
So then after we have that list, then we will go out and ask each of them, we'll do a request for proposals and actually dive into the more detailed request for proposals on, designing the site,
Okay.
designing the building, I'm sorry, the infrastructure and building. So that process is underway. Just trying to make sure I dot all the i's and cross the t's for the state money. And then, so hopefully getting the contract, pre-requirements done and finding, hiring, making an official decision on hiring the firms will happen at close to the same time, and then we can actually start drawing from the grant and the loan to do the design. So it's all moving. I was impressed with how fast Curve moved. Sometimes they're slow, but they just got that information out to me immediately about the pre-contract requirements. So, yep, and it's been very, we've had so many calls and, accolades for getting this done. People are really excited about it. And, Jill's got the Wheat Life just did an article about it, Wheat Life magazine. So that's pretty cool. People are excited. Yeah. So, and then we are still, have done lots of work on the grain cluster. I think I'll let Jill talk about that,
Mhm.
kind of what we've been doing. You want to do that now? Talk about the businesses we've met with and.
Sure. Yeah, so we've been following up with all the survey respondents that have responded to our survey. So throughout this month, we have met with Karen Spring Mills, they're out of the Skagit Valley. Bellingham Pasta Company, obviously out of Bellingham. Hillside Grain, they're out of,
Wasn't it Central Idaho?
yeah, I can't remember the exact town, slipped my mind. And then Gaston's Bakery, which is out of Boise, Idaho. So we've all met with them and kind of in all different ways. Each one of them has sort of brought bits and pieces in the ways they can interact with the grain cluster. Hillside Grain mentioned even supplying barley for Phil.
Yep.
Karen Spring talked about having a hammer mill, possibly doing some pulse crop milling because they can't do that at their site. The Bellingham Pasta Company lady said that if down the road, if we wanted to have a pasta maker, she would be willing to train that pasta maker so we could have a pasta entrepreneur on site. And then Gaston's Bakery, what they do, is they store their own grain and they have a unified mill, so they bring in the grain, they clean it, and then they mill it, and then they use that in their, bakery. But they're looking at possibly expanding. They want to kind of do like a region like Idaho, and they use Idaho grain and mill it, Washington. So could be a possibility that their bakery goes there or some sort of that
That
idea.
was, so it was, that was the one that excited me the
Yes,
most.
'cause they-
95% wholesale. That's what
Yes.
they do, wholesale.
Yes, and the unified mill, it brought that back up because the unified mill is, I guess, more simple to use.
I guess,
And
it pulverizes it instead of a
Yes.
stone. It
Yes.
grinds it, it's actually
Hammer mill.
Yeah.
it's some sort of a pulverizer that
Oh.
WSU,
Right.
it was developed by WSU.
Right. And then the Wheat Life article, I put that in your packet, that got published, so that's
Cool.
exciting. So, yeah. It's good,
Yes.
we're trying to spread the word, I keep emailing people and finding more groups to send it to and
Mhm.
all that,
Well, and
so.
our Mountain Man sourdough, I just keep thinking maybe they need to
Miller?
become our big wholesale mill, wholesale bakery.
Yes,
Cause I just was amazed at how, I mean, what they're doing and it's all
Yeah.
wholesale. It's just amazing.
yeah,
And using soft white wheat, which we
Yes.
grow here,
correct.
to make croissants. That's what they use to make croissants,
Yeah.
which surprised me.
But yeah, just that model of bringing in grain, storing it on site, milling
Milling it
it,
on site,
using it.
baking.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Brewing it is even better.
What'd you say?
Brewing it is even better.
Yeah, and that's the second respondent we've had to the survey that wants to supply some barley for Phil's business, so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's great.
So I have a couple contacts. I'll copy it later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's about it, I think. Pronunciation.
Okay, CWW Railroad.
Okay, so. We've had a few calls recently on, you know, I don't know, piles of ties that people don't like, and there's some leftover rail behind the courthouse that they didn't pick up after the Third Street project, so we're trying to work with Columbia Rail on getting those straightened out. But the biggest issue is the appraisal.
Right.
That, you know, our gentleman is too ill to finish it. So I met today with, if you recall, in the, comp plan update that we were doing, the workshops with Abby, and she had spoken with, or we had both spoken with the city of Tacoma.
Mhm.
And they had given me a name of a firm in, Virginia called RL Banks and Associates. And that is who did the, appraisal for that sale from the city of Tacoma to Columbia Rail. So I met with Charles and his crew today. And they had all kinds of things to say. And we talked about different methods of valuation. They seem to have more to offer than our previous appraiser did as far as valuing the gross salvage value and the net liquidated value of the rail, the value of the land, and the value of the corridor. And so it was a very good conversation. The other thing I like about them is that and I asked specifically, there is a team. So I said, if something happens to one of you, the others can continue. And they said, of course. So they are going to send me a proposal. I don't have any numbers or anything yet. We just met today, but they are going to send me a proposal. They're going to give me separate prices for the different valuations, and then an hourly rate for consultation time. They talked about, thinking they should probably attend a court meeting, commission meeting, and be able to meet with you all, whether it's in person or on Zoom, depends on how much you want to spend. But so they can help answer questions and give information. And then they also would prefer to have an on-site to do the land appraisal, they prefer to have somebody come on site instead of just doing it from a distance. The other guy would have just done it from a distance. And they feel like that's a much better, way of getting a true value. So they're gonna give me rates for all of them.
Okay.
Okay?
How far did the previous appraiser get on this? Because last we had talked, he was supposed to be wrapping it up in
Right,
June.
he respond. Other guys know him.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just not normal for him to just drop out, but, I don't know. I didn't pay him anything.
Okay.
So,
That's my next question.
yeah, didn't pay him anything. So I don't know. I mean, at least we had pulled all the information together, all the val maps, all the documents. I mean, I can go
Right.
find them and send them to the new company very easily. Because that was part of what we had to do, was figure out what they needed.
Right.
And so I don't know, it was. Every time I had talked to him, he said he'd be done by June, and then I forwarded you the email where he just
Right.
said, I know this is out of the blue and an inconvenience, but I'm so sorry. And he said he called me. And I said, well, I really, really would like to talk to you, and he has never called. So he just must be really ill. So anyway, I will proceed with, I asked him to send me references. I said I had the one from Port of Tacoma, or City of Tacoma, but I wanted other references. And I've let Paul know. So, I will just, I said, could it be done by the end of the year? And they said, yes. So, I don't think they'll take as long.
Good.
So, any questions about that, or?
Not about the appraisal, but I've gotten a couple complaints about cars parked down at Prescott and Huntsville.
Yeah, they're making money on car storage.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about the complaints.
Well, I've had maybe 4 citizens come and say, why are there, and they believe they're car hauling cars parked at,
Oh, that was down by Bowles, yeah. I think they're gone now, but
okay.
Yeah.
But they're going, why are there car hauling cars there? And I tried to explain, he makes money from renting space, and then I've had at least 2 people out of Huntsville that are like, why are all the cars parked down there beside the grain hub? There's full of graffiti there. I actually drove down there the other day and took pictures of them. They're full of graffiti and 13th Street gang stuff on them. And there's really, I don't know that the county can do anything about that.
no, it's probably
Gang,
us.
huh?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to look at the lease and see if we could
Gang type of
hold it.
graffiti on them. I don't know if you've seen them down there in Huntsville, but, and I'm just concerned people within our county that why are those sitting there and why are we letting graffiti when we won't let graffiti like that, gang related graffiti in town?
Okay,
I would hate to consider putting limitations on how the Columbia Rail can use their railroad for railroad purposes, you know.
Well, I would be very concerned. I've seen
You know,
the short line out of LeGrand clear to Wallowa packed with cars. They're derelict just sitting on their site. Would we really want that all the way from Walla to Dayton?
so we
Just
just,
park
we
cars.
don't have that much of sightings to be able to put.
They don't have to put them on the
So
side.
they,
They could just park them on the main track.
well, they're kind of using the main tracks, so.
I know.
I would really hate to put some limitations on how they can use their railroad that they're leasing from us and restrict their access to, revenue. Just because there's a couple of cars that have some graffiti on them. As far as the car haulers, I certainly don't have any issue with that, you know, up there on a temporary basis, getting repairs. It sounds to me like you had more inquiries of why they were there than complaints about it, but that's neither here nor there.
It is.
But I
here.
really do not
If
want
it's in
to-
your backyard, you would complain if there was a car sitting there with graffiti, the 13th Street gang symbol.
Well, it's not in their backyard, it's on the railroad right of way.
Okay, so you made that statement but then you'll make the statement that you don't want a trail down beside it because it's not in their backyard. So, same difference, I'm just saying. You can't say one thing on this side and say another thing on this side. It is in their backyards. People live along those tracks.
Well, you're entitled to your thoughts on that, but I vehemently disagree with taking any kind of action that would restrict their ability to generate revenue from the use.
Right.
You know, railroad.
You're not against them tearing up the tracks and selling the steel.
I'm sorry?
You aren't against them tearing up the tracks and selling the steel.
Who's proposing to do that?
Who knows?
Last I heard, only when they want to do that with previous commissioners,
15
but
minutes, 20 minutes. Well,
they're
I
not the
will.
role operator.
The graffiti, I guess I'll have to think about the graffiti thing.
Just drive down by Huntsville.
I'll have to go look at it, yeah,
I've got pictures of it. I
Okay.
did drive down, no,
you know.
it was Prescott, and look at the cars
Yeah,
down.
because I also don't wanna, limit what the rail operator is allowed to do, but we do have to, I have to talk to them all the time about things, so. I would be interested to hear what he has to say about if it's really gang related. So is it like, is that what's offensive? To them?
Yes,
Okay,
the graffiti on the cars. I don't know,
okay,
one of the complaints said 13th Street gang.
Huh.
And I don't have any pictures of 13th Street gang.
yeah, I might like ask the Walla Walla Sheriff's Department to look at it and see if there's,
Or
if it's
Dayton,
really.
because it's in Dayton.
Oh, I thought you said it was
It's Columbus.
Prescott.
No, it's the ones parked in Huntington.
Oh, Huntsville?
Sorry,
Oh, Huntsville, oh, okay,
that I got the complaints about. the graffiti.
oh, okay,
It's not the ones in,
not the ones in Prescott,
No.
okay. Okay, yeah, I could ask the sheriff to go look and see if there is something that's.
I-
Yeah,
I'm not a graffiti expert.
okay, I will do a little investigating,
Thank you.
okay.
Okay, let's talk about broadband, Dayton Community Broadband Project update.
Okay, so, I told you that Charter did reimburse us, So Tracy and I need to close that project out again. I think I told you that I was concerned about Pacific Core being able to come back for up to a year with, make-ready work that we might have to pay for. So Kara has recommended that we send a letter to Zero DB and just ask them to warranty their work for the remainder, it'd be another 6 months. For that, if Pacific Power cites any violations, that they would come back and fix them on their dime. And then that way we'd be able to close out the project. So I plan to do that, and if they say yes, then we'll close it out and give them their retainage and be done. I'm ready to be done with that one. They've been very patient, considering we have a lot of their money.
Right.
And then Tushy Valley Broadband, we finally have the bridge at Rose Gulch. They are putting the fiber across the bridge, so. We do have, we've had a few little straggler residences that needed. Fiber, I think we have one left. It's actually Michelle Shown. We've got one left. We're trying to figure out, we can't get her to respond to signing a waiver. She's got to sign a waiver. So do you think that's the last one, Tracy?
I think so,
Okay,
that I am aware of.
yeah, so I think that would be the last one, and then that one we'll be able to put in a final report.
Okay,
So they're both getting wrapped up here. And I need to get them wrapped up so I can focus on craft malt.
right.
And then as far as the rural broadband funding, Petrichor just continues to keep an eye on the BEAD funding.
Right.
I don't have anything new to report at this time. It's a slow process, so they're still keeping an eye on it for us.
Okay.
One thing I did forget to mention I guess we haven't had one yet, but we have to do, locates, the call before you dig. We have to do that on the fiber. So Petrichor is taking care of that on our behalf. They have a firm that they have a contract with. So we got the first bill for the first month of locates, and it was about $900.
Okay.
So that'll just go against that's just a maintenance expense, operations expense. But it's, pretty reasonable because there were multiple call outs. I can't remember how many on the list, probably it's 12 or 13. So, it seems like that's a cost-effective way to get it done. So we'll have that on our plate from here to eternity.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Okay. On to community and economic development, starting with staff reports.
Okay, I led the Destination Walla Walla team meeting last week in Walla Walla. Our next meeting is going to be in Waitsburg at American 35. And we are continuing to work on branding the entire valley as one tourism unit. And there's some subcommittees that are working that are doing a great job, so outdoor recreation, value-added ag, and then the branding. That's the committee I'm on. So that seems to be moving forward. I attended the RTPO meeting in Pullman yesterday. And I, as of July 31st, will be the president of the RTPO. I was the vice president, so it's my turn. We have a great director. She's just fabulous. So shouldn't have to do any more than I am right now. I attended the Washington Economic Development Finance Authority meeting in Vancouver after the CURB meeting last month. It happened to be in Vancouver just the next day after CURB. So, our port only had to pay 50% of the travel mileage because WEDFA sent me a check and paid for the other. So that was kind of nice. Jill and I met with the owner of a new recreation site in Columbia County. It's called Jasper Mountain Reserve. It is a privately owned, about 330 acres on Jasper Mountain. And the gentleman that lives there has been working on building trails for 10 years.
Wow.
So it is, he wants it to be open to the public. So you can pay either a day use fee to come in or have an annual pass. And you can camp, hike. And it's gorgeous. We're going up on the 21st. We get to go up and have a tour. But it's very beautiful and I think will be very attractive to visitors. Maybe local people too, but
Right.
especially to visitors. Then they do a trail run. I think they did it last year. I didn't even know about it, but this year, I think, is it July 6th? Where they actually have relay teams that come in and run on those mountain trails.
Oh, wow.
Jill appears to be interested in that. I am not. But we're gonna go up and check it out on next weekend and see, so. Pretty cool.
Try to avoid running less than being chased by a bear.
We had a table at the community council luncheon last week and it was full. That was great. Jill got lots of people to come with us. And then the rest of one more thing, the Lower Snake River Dam study, I did get contacted by the consultant. We're gonna meet next week. They're gonna just ask me questions about this area and the shipping here. And then lastly is All Wheels. So the rest of the week will be devoted to All Wheels.
Mhm.
I will be 100% All Wheels. Tracy will be helping me. Okay. So that's my laundry list report.
Okay,
I will let Jill go.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of work on the grain cluster, continuing outreach there. You already heard about the partners that we've been meeting with. I did put in your packet, I just thought I'd give an update since I haven't for a few meetings on Choose Columbia County. So you have the current month's data, and then I just compiled some of since we've started this campaign, the data there. So overall, we've had 411 new followers. We've seen a 275% increase in impressions, about 165% increase in accounts reached, and 58% increase in accounts engaged just overall. So that's really helping. Veronica has been connecting with travel influencers. And so recently there was an account that did a story on Dayton. They tagged Choose Columbia County and Locally Nourished. And that account has 49,500 followers. So that was really good because I mean, that's free promotion. Like we didn't have to pay them. They just chose to do that story because we've been interacting with them. So that was really good. Go Veronica. So yeah, it's just going really well. And all the businesses are really, really happy with all the content we produce for that Veronica does for them. And so, yeah, we're hearing just positive things about she's Columbia County. And then last week at Chief Springs, we had quarterly connections. I'd say we had about 25 people. We had Pacific Power there, Columbia REA, USDA. I did put in your packets just the one from the USDA about the Rural Energy for America program. It is really great. The Pacific Power, he's the one that's been working with us on our lighting incentives. And, you know, we connected with him on some businesses to go to. He will come back out. But he walked Main Street before the event. So I think it's gonna be really helpful for businesses. There's huge incentives for them. So it was a really, really good event. And then just an update on the Horizons grant, that post-secondary attainment grant that we're working on. Right now, we're still in the planning phase, so we're finalizing what we're gonna do in these next 3 years. But we have developed working groups and I'm on the internship group. So we had our first meeting and we're just trying to hash out what it looks like for these next 3 years with the internships and all that. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Mike, you're up, Dayton Development Task Force.
I scratched a few notes. We had two guest speakers from Main Street program in Washington, Jolene. Al?
I think it's Jonelle.
That's right, it is John L, that's right.
And
And Jackie.
Jackie, whatever.
I don't remember her last name.
Sweetheart, I think. Anyway, they were good speakers, talked about Main Street. They're very involved in Washington State and getting Main Street up and running, it re-energized, I guess, is very motivational. It was great to have them there. Pride in Columbia County, they talked about what is our driving theme in Columbia County and Dayton. And what do we need to have? And I used to have it on the back of my pickup. Discover Dayton. What was the saying? I can't even remember it now. Discover Dayton, I think.
Well, Discover Dayton, and then after that, they had another tagline, but I don't know if I can remember it. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
That's what it was, yeah.
We still use it.
Anyway, what is our core theme within our county and within our city? And Starbucks, and you know, we're not excluding the marina out here, but what's driving Dayton and why would people come here? So I think we need to think about that as a port, maybe join in with the county and the city and Starbucks. I mean, we're ag. What can we grab a hold of that drives that theme forward? Anyway, I thought it was very inspirational to think about. You gotta have a catchphrase and a theme and then not just say those, but do things about it forward. So anyway, partnerships, collaboration, a vision from here, but what does Columbia County look like from 40 years from now? And what are we doing to drive it?
They stressed that,
Yeah.
yeah, that we are supposed to be looking way in the future.
Way in the
Yeah.
future, not today, but
Yeah.
our grandkids and their kids. What is Columbia County gonna look like and what are we projecting the rest of the world about us? So I thought that was pretty cool. B&O tax focus on downtown was also discussed. And for those of you that don't know, well, most everybody here knows what B&O tax is. It's basically a personal property tax or a personal income tax on your B&O business and operating, and you pay it. There's an ability to share part of that back to our community. Cost of business is a little more to do that, to bring it back to local. I think we ought to spread that out a little more, and everybody that's paying B&O tax should have the opportunity to see how they could bring some of that back to our communities. And right now, it's kind of focused on bigger income earners. And I think everybody should have that opportunity. And so, and Betty Lou's been the driver behind that for years. Visitors stopping in at our businesses. The focus of getting outside people to stop in at our local businesses downtown and throughout our county. How do we do that? And how do we focus that? Why would you stop and wait? Instead of just drive through. Pedestrian safety was a topic. The state is not real receptive at flags. In fact, they've said no to flags and other things. And so how do we promote pedestrian safety, especially on Main Street, 4th Street, our major corridors? Knock on wood, at least within my recent memory, we haven't had anybody ran over on Main Street, but I watched traffic out in front of my business, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I know of one local person that was hit on Main Street, but it's been probably 10 years ago.
Not that long ago.
Was it? Okay.
Julie Bickelhop.
Yeah, oh, it wasn't that
And that
long
was
ago.
like
Okay.
maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to continue to think about that. So the city has a plan for our Main Street corridor to maybe divide the traffic up differently than it is.
Yeah.
And may promote pedestrian safety better than where it is currently. I want to continue to get on our state department. Why isn't there pedestrian walkways clear out to our Artisan Food Center? And
Yeah, I don't know.
there is no walkways beyond IGA really. And I watch people walk around down to the pot shop and down to Main Street. And it's not good. And there's money out there for pedestrian safety and mobility. So bike routes. Anyway, I think it's something we ought to maybe invite our state, transportation official from our local office down to us and see what's, because they have put out 5 and 10 and I think a 20-year plan.
Well,
What's in
they-
their plan?
The restriping of Mains okay, so you know how they restriped West Main
Yeah.
from 4 lanes to 3?
Yeah.
And it all has worked out fine. They want to do the same thing for downtown. We were originally in their budget for that restriping in 2019. Then they pushed it forward to, I don't even know when. Now it's 2027 that it's in their budget.
Well, but they're also responsible for the sidewalk and the bike paths on the side of the road on
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
state highways.
Yeah,
So maybe we ought to put a little pressure on them and invite them to a meeting.
okay.
Suggestions that pedestrian safety is,
To a task force meeting or a port meeting?
both, maybe.
Okay,
What is their plan? I mean, they have put out their plans for 5 and 10
Yep.
years out there.
oh yeah, I've talked
I
to
don't
them,
know what
especially
they are.
because of the RTPO. Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
But I could, yeah, we could look into that.
So there was also, the speakers talked about getting our youth involved in our future county planning with port, our county commissioners, our city council. And they talked about a couple of communities that have youth organizations that are focused on what is the future of our communities and our county. And that then helps perpetuate into the future, more people involved in making decisions about where we're going and how we get there. And I want to do a little more research into it to see how we could get some youth maybe to come into our port commission meetings and be there and share their insight and what their vision is into the future. Because I'm an old guy. We need some youthful input also, right? So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
I have none.
Nope.
Thank you. You bet.
Okay, well, a couple of weeks ago, I attended the WPPA spring meeting, and there's a couple of things I would like to highlight on, that we talked about. We had a lecture discussing energy and the lack of energy in Washington State. And last year during the little cold snap that we had, we were importing a good amount of our electricity because we can't produce enough to take care of ourselves. We're right on the edge of having rolling blackouts during peak times. And there's no very good plan in play to alleviate that situation. We're supposed to be 100% coal-free here in the very near future. The Centralia coal power plants both are shutting down by 2025. We all know that there's trying to reduce natural gas usage in the state. There's talk about removing the Snake River dams, and there's more talk about removing energy than there is about producing it. The green energy that we have, both in solar and wind, is the least reliable and least efficient energy source available. So it's really concerning. We can't lose these dams, and we really, I guess the biggest caveat from this meeting is we really need to be advocating for more natural gas plants because they're essentially carbon neutral with mitigation procedures they go through to reduce carbon. And they are the least expensive and probably most efficient of producing electricity. And so if there's anything we can do as officials to encourage the use of, production of smart electricity, and, I understand that we need to try to preserve the planet as well, but this green energy is very expensive and very inefficient, and it's just not the solution. Well, that was pretty much the highlights of the energy portion of it. Another thing I'd like to talk about is I enjoy the roundtable discussions we have. One of them was on industrial symbiosis. So how that relates to us is, for example, the grain cluster that we're talking about, that we're getting ready to build in the malt facility. And they gave some examples of some industrial symbiosis, one of which was in the Port of Pasco. They have the Dairyville plant, and the Dairyville plant and their wastewater has an excessive amount of nitrogen. So in order to take care of that nitrogen problem, they have found a particular type of algae that will eat the nitrogen and solidify it, and then it can be sold as fertilizer. So that's just an example of one industry coming in to take care of another industry's problem. Another example was the Port of Pasco uses a lot of de-icer at the airport. And that's ethylene glycol, same stuff as antifreeze in our cars. And, when you spray the planes down, it runs off onto the runways, it goes into their collection system and whatnot, but then they have this large amount of ethylene glycol that they've got to get rid of. Well, they discovered a species of red worms that will eat the ethylene glycol. The first batch didn't turn out so well, all the worms died, but there's a matter of getting proportions right and whatnot. But then they use these worms to generate worm casings, which they sell as fertilizer as well. So finding ways to take care of the waste and or another aspect of, just different businesses with different directions that are symbiotic with one another. And, maybe think of, well, what can we do with what we have going on? And with this facility, just an idea, he's going to have, spent grains that he's used that got to find another use for after he's made the malt out of it. So I don't know how that works or what they do with it afterwards, but maybe an idea would be have somebody come in and take those grains and make it into animal feed pellets or something along those lines. This is a brainstorming idea. But, maybe thinking outside of the box and not just things that have to do with using the grain for something, but things that could also help alleviate some of the waste materials and issues that businesses have. Other than that, it was a good meeting. Made some good connections. I met Ben over there from JUB Engineering, and invite him to come to tonight's meeting.
Seth, did they talk about nuclear at all?
They did talk a little bit about nuclear, the small footprint, small nuclear plants more than anything. But, you know, they're quite a ways in the future. The current nuclear, you know, it's very efficient. It's very green.
Just the waste is the
Right.
issue, yeah.
But with the newer technologies that they have, there's, you know, small, little micro nuclear plants. Yeah.
I think the Port of Benton is looking into that, I think. I've heard her talk about it.
Right.
Oh, yeah. They're all nodding over
We
there.
have, what, 17,000 square mile or not square miles, but a huge. I worked out there, facility out there. And Sweden's already doing it. They're doing small pod generation that's much safer than
Yeah, they're
everything we're doing now.
meltdown proof. and,
Yeah.
You know, they don't have the waste that these previous technology has.
And why aren't we leaving Hanford site out there to become our next generation generators of power?
Well, I think they're working on it.
Yeah, it really looks
They
like
are.
things are starting to, you know, turn that direction for at least a portion of our energy.
Thank God. We can't tear out all our dams,
No.
do away with everything else and expect to have power.
Mhm.
And everybody that says so, they ought to shut off all their power to their house and save energy, so. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's all right. But yeah, it was a great meeting, so. With that, that's all I had on that.
Okay,
Guess we'll go into our final public comment period. Any public comments?
Dave Harvey, 345 Fort-Way, Unit J, down at the Woodland Station.
Mhm.
Back on the subject of railroad, and the dams, you mentioned both tonight. Very uncertain what's gonna happen to these dams. It's not, I don't think it's correct. But, our federal government has a bullseye on these things. To sell the railroad before we know what's going to happen to the dams would be a huge mistake for the community, for everybody. That could be our one transportation corridor. If the dams were dismantled.
Mm.
Second of all, no matter how you slice it, there's going to be complaints like you're receiving now if you allow the operator to take over, because he's there for money. It's an investment. He's got to pay for it. So parking railroad cars is a really, really good way to make money. He's already been parking them on the main line, so he's blocking access if we were to need it. If we went, I'm not sure if they're still out there now, but when they were out there before, somebody needed a rail car and asked the operator, wouldn't have been able, he would have had to tow, 2 or 300 cars out there because they were parked on the line. That's all. Say, thank you.
Okay, I was saying something about marketing. We talked about like the points of Columbia County. We meet about this regularly and talk about it constantly, but we kind of have 2 main focuses, kind of 3. Ag is obviously a big deal with Green Giant, and that leads into history quite a bit too. The grain cluster is going to be a new modern way to highlight the ag of Columbia County, and that could be an additional revenue stream. Agritourism is a big deal, and the grain cluster is very cool. So that could play into the history of the Green Giant, as well as offer something new and exciting for our entertainment focus, circular economy, which is really big. The other piece of the history is obviously the courthouse being the oldest operating courthouse in Washington, the depot being incredibly old and wonderful as well, and all of this different historic elements throughout Dayton. Karena's doing an amazing job at the depot. So we have a great director there. The Bolton House is wonderful as ever. So focusing on the history. And then I think the other piece is 365 days of outdoor recreation. We have Blue Line, which is a huge deal, especially because it's accessible to families that don't have the crazy lines with Jasper Mountain, all the trail access, everything like that. Dayton is a hub for outdoor rec. We know that everyone from Walla Walla, including outside Walla Walla and other outdoor recreation agencies, they're pretty much coming to me. You can go drive to Tri-Cities at 10 a.m. in the morning on Saturday, and you'll see dozens of cars pass you with their outdoor rec vehicles from the That's not something that Walla has. Tri-Cities people are literally coming here and they're leaving there because Tri-Cities, while we have great biking trails, their outdoor rec is pretty limited as well. So we've got a really good sweet spot with access to Pullman, Spokane, Tri-Cities for that outdoor rec. So I think the 3 points are a great opportunity for Dayton to continue to capitalize on and grow over the next 40 years. You know, Walla can't implement outdoor rec now, it's too late. It's all private up there, right? But over here, we have all the trails, we have access, we're focusing on that, continuing to build that out. Bluewood just opened, Bluewood is open all summer now.
Oh, there,
Yeah, they're encouraging.
they got okay.
Yeah, they're encouraging hiking. I know they have big plans up there, so things like that, Jasper Mountain, those are really good things for us. There's more Airbnbs opening. We just got a Lavender Farm Airbnb that opened on the way to Luce. So things like that, I think are really positive. And it's already naturally going in that direction. The Last Resort owners are from Tri-Cities. The Lavender Farm Airbnb people are from Tri-Cities, so including others. So we're seeing a lot of investment from that big city.
I don't know about the Lavender Farm one. Is it the same one? No, it's different.
It's like not really a farm, they're kind of calling, it's like maybe like half an
Okay,
acre of lavender. It's their first year.
interesting.
Yeah, Tin River.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool,
thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom, public comment? Okay, with that. Time is 6:17, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Dinner.
Apologies for being late.
So let's go to dinner, Joanne.
Did
you okay?
Come across Maxell?
Yeah, right there on the corner of,
Chini and the line, both are family recipes. I just, my family was talking, and the other is, Susan's chicken and chini. We got Caesar salad, and then over here is, really yummy bread with strawberries, lemon on top with cream on top of dessert.
Thank you.
yeah, the first corner off of Bowles, when
Yeah.
you turn where that cross is,
Yeah.
you know, where people